Hey everybody, and welcome to another installment, another edition of Work Your Career Wednesday. I'm Bradley Clark, and I am just so thrilled that you decided to tune in and join us today. And today we have a great show. I got to tell you, it's not every day that you get somebody that's appeared on Shark Tank, right? You get a chance to talk with them. Well, not only do we have someone who made an appearance, but we have someone who got a deal. Her name is Courtney Turich, and she got a deal with a company that she co-founded called Monkey Mat. And the deal was with Mark Cuban and Lori Greiner. And since then, she just continues to do amazing things. Right now, she's the vice president, the global vice president of sales and marketing for a company called Cooler Heads. And this company is doing incredible things. They have a device that enables people going through chemotherapy to keep their hair. So, it's a preservation of dignity, really, that they're giving all of these people. And I'm just fascinated by it. I know you will be too, so stick around because you're about to be so blessed by this interview. Now, before we get to that, we've got to talk about White Husky Films. If you have anything and everything connected to video, if you have something you want documented, you got a podcast, a music video, anything, get in contact with Steven Saldana at White Husky Films. The number is on the screen, or you can always visit us at www.whitehuskyfilms.com. Dream, create, record in that order. And when you choose White Husky, you'll be so glad you did. So without further ado, please make welcome. Sorry, I'm getting a little tongue-tied. I'm so excited. Courtney Turich. Hey everybody, and welcome to another installment, another edition of Work Your Career Wednesday. As always, I'm Bradley Clark, and I'm so glad that you decided to tune in today. I have an amazing guest. Oh my goodness. It's not every day that we get a former Shark Tank contestant. Further, it's not every day we get a Shark Tank contestant that got a deal from Mark Cuban and Lori Greiner. I'll tell you a little bit about Courtney, all right? She started as Stryker. She went on to be a contestant in Shark Tank. She was with Monkey Mat. You can look that up all over YouTube and highlights for Shark Tank. Went on to be a regional capital sales manager. And right now she's with a company called Cooler Heads. And we're going to get into that. My goodness, how cool is this company? Okay. And I am not qualified to talk about it. I'm going to let her talk about it. But everyone, please make welcome Courtney Turich. Courtney.
Hello.
Did I say last name right?
You didn't. And I'm going to call you out right now because everyone mispronounces my last name. It is Turich. It is Croatian. Yes, it's Croatian. But when we came, people like to, of course, as Americans, say Turich.
Right.
But I'll give you a pass on this one.
Thank you so much, because I need all the passes I can get, honestly.
Courtney, said it, not me.
Courtney, when we talked on the phone, I was just so fascinated by not only, what you're doing now, but, your story. You know what I'm saying? And I know, we have kind of limited time right now. If you could go ahead and give our audience sort of an overview of you, and then we'll get into everything surrounding Cooler Heads.
You got it. Well, first, thanks for having me, Bradley. I'm super excited to talk to your audience. I am an Indiana girl, Midwestern at my roots. They always say you can take the girl out of Indiana, but you can't take the Indiana out of the girl. And that is so true. So I did my undergrad and graduate in Indiana, but then once I got done with school, I basically spread my wings and never went back home. So out of grad school, I basically started with AT&T business, doing direct, B2B sales, and then found my way into the medical device realm, where I really found a passion for helping other people, but also just the inner workings of a hospital system. It's very complex and it allowed me to wear multiple hats and just learn a ton about our medical industry. I was in sales. I went into the corporate office at Stryker, did product development, and then really realized that I'm a people person. When it comes down to it, I am meant to be in a sales capacity. So I went back in the field for a while, and then that's when I got my creativity juices going and came up with the idea monkey mat with a colleague of mine. So took a little hiatus from medical device, went and did my entrepreneurial stint where we did a deal on Shark Tank. Completely unbelievable. Still, I have a hard time watching the show. If you ask me, there's a little PTSD. But everything you see about Mark Cuban, you're laughing. It is. It's still, I still kind of think about that moment when those big brown doors open and you walk out. It is everything you see on TV and so
Really?
much more.
What's it like working with Mark Cuban?
I mean, Mark is truly out for his entrepreneurs. He
Really?
has a
Wow.
full team of staff that's there to help you and to the companies he invests in. So he's really trying to help the small itty bitty small businesses to catapult them to that next level. If you would
Wow.
send him an email, he'd respond back within minutes. It was wild.
It's incredible. And I would assume Lori Greiner is the same way.
Yeah, very much
So
so.
really, it's just like you see it.
It's
If
just
you,
like you see it.
that is so
We're in
cool.
there a lot longer than what you see, right?
Right.
Because it is TV and they do cut it down and they do make it good TV.
Right.
Everybody who goes in doesn't necessarily make it on air because they have to have as many people get deals that don't get deals, right? So there's a good balance and ebb and flow.
What was it from Mark that said, you know what, I want to invest in Monkey Mat?
We had no clue down towards the wire of our episode. I had no clue if we were going to get a deal or not. And we threw Mark the monkey mat, and he was able to stuff it back in the pouch within seconds. And that's what really sold him. It was
Really?
quick, easy, simple, and felt that people would gravitate towards it.
Well, and they obviously did. You guys did pretty well.
Yes, we did. We got
I
a great
mean,
deal from them. I also believe we were Austin-based company, so we were
right.
out of Texas, and I
Yeah.
think that always pulls at Mark's heartstrings.
Well, Texas is the way to go. And by the way, the Astros are doing pretty well. That's why we're all in our Astro camo, is what I want to say.
You're looking good, Bradley. You wear
Well,
it well. You
hey,
wear
you
it
know what?
well.
Hey, it takes one to know one. So
No,
there we go.
okay, okay,
So
I'll take it.
so okay, from there you kind of went back into the, I don't know,
I
sort
went
of
back into
working for
medical.
other people.
I did. Well, and hear
Yeah.
me out on this. Entrepreneurship is hard. I think we all know. And the biggest struggle for me was we had hit a ceiling with our product. We weren't going to take it to the next level. And I was financially strapped. And it was really a come to reality with myself of this isn't going to work, right? Like you
That
have
is
put
so
your,
valuable to say.
it was
People
so
don't
hard
get
to
that.
say.
Oh, sure. Absolutely. It's the worst.
It
It's the
is.
worst feeling ever. But people, when they talk about, we live in such a meme generation. You know what I'm saying? Like a meme
Mm-hmm.
time where it's like, know your worth. No, I'm going to do this and I'll be in Dubai in 2 weeks. Being an entrepreneur is hard.
It is.
It
And
is difficult, man. Oh, talk about. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt you, but
no,
that
no,
is
it's that.
so beautiful that that you're so open about that.
Well, because, we all say whatever you envision for yourself, you can make reality, right? And
Sure.
I do believe in that in many ways, but in this reality at Monkey Mat, it wasn't my reality, right? And there was a lesson to be learned for me.
Love it.
So the first time I said it out loud, it was probably the toughest time of my life from a professional standpoint. I
What
remember
that's like.
talking to a fellow Shark Tank colleague, and all of a sudden, I said, I need to walk away. And I just started crying because it felt like failure, even though I know now it wasn't failure, right?
Then
But in
yeah,
that
then it felt
moment,
that way though. Yeah, that moment
yeah,
is hard.
it was dark. It was very dark.
What did you here's the other thing people don't talk about. How did you pull yourself out of that? Because that's not easy for an entrepreneur.
It took time. It didn't happen overnight, right?
Yeah.
Like it was a build up to even get to the point to even say that. And then I had to unwind my shares within the company, right? So it was a
Oh yeah,
process.
sure.
But when I got back into medical device after I walked away from Monkey Mat, And one thing I told myself was, I will only work for startups moving forward, medical device
Mm.
startups, because that was a way for me to still get that energy and the entrepreneur side of my life still still at my fingertips, right? Like I could still feel it, what it's like to be at a startup. I know
Interesting.
I'm weird,
I
right? Like
love
that is
not at
crazy.
all. Well, no, and I don't know. I've online. I've been pretty open about this. I was in the hospital for hospitalized for 2 weeks, in the hospital for about 5 days, and one of my doctors is actually going to be coming on to the show. He's
Awesome.
he wants to talk about things that are happening within the medical industry,
Mm.
and he is about to be very open about it. And I told him that you were coming on,
Mm-hmm.
and he was like, "Wow, that's pretty cool." Um, Tell me, you were talking about, you know how hospitals work,
Mm-hmm.
and it's very complex.
Yes.
How much of that complexity? How am I? How do I want to say this? How much of that complexity goes into not so much the diagnosis of a patient, but the care of one? You understand what I'm saying?
I do. And it can impact the care of a patient.
Hmm.
I mean, there's a lot. At the end of the day, healthcare is a business.
Hmm. Oh,
And
speak on it. Come on.
yeah,
I
I
love it.
think the biggest thing from a patient perspective, and we all need to know, and I'm in the industry, is
Yeah.
you have to be your own advocate, no
Mm,
matter what.
come on.
You
Okay.
have to be your own patient advocate. And if they tell you no, you keep asking. You're going to have to keep digging and digging more and digging further. And you
Yeah.
will get what you need and what you want. But
Wow.
you have to fight for yourself. And it's going to
Wow.
be tiring at times, but you can make a difference for yourself. It's just going to be a battle.
Is that like your biggest, best piece of advice for people that are dealing with whatever medical issue that they're dealing with?
Yeah, it
Because
is.
it's pretty awesome.
It
It's
is.
pretty incredible.
Now I'm in the cancer space and I've talked to
Yeah.
so many patients, and that is one thing I have learned, that you have to advocate for yourself, right? And the people
Love it.
who don't, and at the end of the day, they reflect back and realize they should have asked this, they should have asked that. If at any point there is a question in your gut that you feel like you need to ask, you need to ask it. Don't
Mm,
leave any question unanswered.
I love that. So you are at your core an advocate for people. I mean,
Yes.
you don't go into startup medical device for a singular reason. You know
Right.
what I'm saying?
Right.
I love it. I love it. And okay, so oh man, it's so huge, Courtney. That's so big. When I was in the hospital, I talked to several nurses. Talked to
Mm-hmm.
there were several doctors that were on my team, and they were all wonderful. I tend to be the guy that I try to ask questions, and I try, you know what I mean? I try to be my own advocate, but my wife is the one that she does not play. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Like she's the one. So when the doctors would come in, I'd be like, look, here's the deal. She's going to take you back to the MCAT. So that's just the way it is. But it was really wonderful, and they were really great. I was at Methodist, um,
Nice. Great
and
hospital.
oh man, and just I will tell you that the nurses and the doctors on my team, um, I felt like they really did make it easy. You
Awesome.
know what I mean? But
Hmm.
there's been times, particularly in my wife's case, where we've had to be our own advocate, and she is a fierce advocate for herself and for me. So I see what you're saying. I can see where it's such a it's such a balance,
It is.
because you're dealing with people, personalities, and egos,
You're dealing
and
with that. You're dealing with exhausted people too
oh, come
on the
on.
other
Yeah.
side. Like they are tired, they are overworked, they're not getting paid enough. It is a vicious cycle for everyone involved. And so, as much as they might want to help you, at the end of the day, they have to create their own boundaries. So, you've got
Yeah.
to push the boundaries.
Having that perspective has got to be such an asset for cooler heads. It has to be. Let's talk about cooler heads real quick.
Yes, let's talk
I
about
am
them.
fascinated by that technology. In fact, it's so funny. I was talking about this for the last week because I was so excited to do this interview with you. And so I was talking about you, I was talking about the product, and everybody's like, really? So if you've seen some hits on your website, it's my fault. Talk to us about cooler heads, because it's fascinating.
Okay, so Cooler Heads, I started with them. I was one of the first 5 employees, right, for the company.
Mm-hmm.
So really raw startup. Our founder and CEO, her name's Kate Dilligan. She is a 6-year breast cancer survivor. And yeah, it was through her own journey that this company exists today. And to just enlighten everyone a little bit more, Cooler Heads, what we do is we help with chemo induced alopecia. So we help chemo patients keep their hair during chemotherapy. And many might ask, why is that important? And I'll be frank, when I first knew about Cooler Heads, I didn't realize the impact of hair loss for a cancer patient. I really thought it was more vanity. But the more I learned about Kate's story, my CEO, the patients, it is so much more. It is about identity. It's about privacy. It's about just living life normally, right? Or bouncing between two worlds. Like one day you don't want to feel like the cancer patient and you want to go out and work and be with people and feel normal before you have to retreat and be that patient who's getting chemotherapy and feeling sick the next day, right? So my CEO, she did what they called cold caps. And basically, she had to switch out these like swim caps every 20 minutes that were on dry ice. Very cumbersome. She had to do it an hour before chemotherapy, all during chemotherapy, and then 4 hours post chemotherapy. So think about switching out water, like swim caps every 20 minutes just to keep her hair. Well, she kept her hair, which is great. At the end of the day, she was an executive and she was on the government side in the tech world. So she wanted to keep her privacy. She worked with a bunch of men. She also was concerned about her job. So she didn't want, right? It is.
Yeah, it's a very big deal. People know about, anything in the government sector, in the public sector, particularly when you're dealing with government, like I think I know what she was doing. Wow. That's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's a difference between making a deal and not making a deal. It's a difference between being taken seriously and not being taken seriously.
100%.
Yeah, I get it.
So she walked away with hair, even though she went through that grueling process, but she's like, there has got to be an easier way than what I experienced. It's also really expensive what she did. She paid $8,000 to do that, to switch caps off every 20 minutes. Like
$8,000, really?
$8,000. Wow. All to keep that privacy and identity for herself.
Who's gonna afford that? You know what I mean?
Hardly, exactly. And that's what brought her to Cooler Heads was, I've got to find an easier way to do this for patients, and I've got to find a more affordable way. She likes to say, I want to democratize scalp cooling so it can be available to anyone and every patient that wants and needs it.
Forget about it.
Yeah. Wow. Yeah. So basically we started commercializing last July, and we are just running across the US trying to put Cooler Heads, our device is called AMA, which means mother, into every infusion center we can.
I love that. And you're at Seed right now.
We're at Seed. We're getting ready to start our Series A fundraising. End of this year, early next. Nice. So we will take any money.
Hey, look here. It's pretty nice. That's a nice seed. I will tell you that. I've seen smaller. That is awesome.
Yeah.
That is awesome. So what I'm seeing on LinkedIn, you guys are about at Seed. You're at about at 8 million.
Yes, exactly.
Okay.
We just got
That
done
is
raising around a
incredible.
$5 million seed, and it was about three before that. So our
I
founder and CEO is pretty sharp.
I
She's a
can tell
smart, savvy
you,
woman.
I think you're gonna. I don't want to make. I'm not a prediction guy, but I'm fully confident your A is going to go so well, and don't be surprised if you hit it twice. I'm just saying, like
I'll
A
take,
and B.
yeah,
I
I'll
love
take
it.
your juju. I'll take all your
Hey,
positive juju.
I think it's wonderful, and and you're right. People don't understand
No,
the impact of hair loss, particularly in cancer patients.
right.
Now let me ask you this: are you guys looking and developing this for going beyond cancer patients, and I don't know, maybe getting into the hair loss space in general?
Great question. Really not right now. We're focused on side effect management for cancer patients.
So what you're telling me is that you're laser focused on what your mission is.
Exactly. Really, that is the main focus because if you go to Walgreens, there's no cancer aisle at Walgreens, right? And
Nope.
nobody talks about the side effects of cancer. They're just trying to keep you alive. Instead of, there are some really gruesome side effects for cancer patients, especially going through chemo. And so it's patients like coming together to discuss and figure out how to handle the blisters in your mouth or,
Mm,
skin coming off your hands. So it's all those little things that cancer patients, they don't know where to go.
mm.
So the first aspect we're tackling is hair loss.
I would ask you what brought you there. I think you kind of already said it, but I think I know, and it's too cool. And I
Yeah.
love the fact you're laser focused on this. Like you're going to tackle
Yes.
this. This is going to happen,
We
and
will
that's
tackle
it, and
it.
that's all. I
Yes.
love it.
We are
I
focused.
absolutely love it. So in your trials, like
Mhm.
how's it look?
So one thing everybody should know about scalp cooling is that depending on the chemo regimen, everyone's outcome is a little different. So every patient's going to have some shedding. That's very typical. And different regimens are harsher on the body than others. And so we have basically we go off what is called a Dutch scalp cooling registry, which is filled of around 2,000 plus patients. And we can give a patient an idea of what their hair loss potential might be or what they're going to be able
Mm,
to maintain. And the goal is really to make them feel good enough so they can go outside their house and be in public, right? At the same time, scalp cooling helps their hair grow back faster. It preserves the hair follicles. So if they do have some hair loss during scalp cooling, by the end of their chemo regimen, they will have already started to sprout hair.
I
It's
just love it.
wild.
I mean,
Yeah, it's
I mean,
crazy.
what a time to live in. What a time
Mm-hmm.
to live. Let me ask you a question. When you were at Stryker, did you even have any inclination that something like this would happen, or you're probably forward thinking enough that you're like, yeah, okay, this is
I never even thought of this side of the business.
really,
Honestly. Yeah, I
yeah,
was always in surgery. So this is my first time really being outside of the surgery environment and
really,
actually interacting with patients who are awake. Because previously, when I would go into a hospital or into the operating room, the patient was asleep. So I only dealt with the staff and the physicians. But now I actually get to see the person,
mm,
the patient,
mm,
the meaning for them of what it is to scalp cool and what it means to keep their hair to them.
that's powerful.
Like
How's it?
today,
How's it changed your life?
it definitely brings back the purpose and mission in me, right? Like I wake up knowing we are making this world a better place. I am making a patient's life a better place. When you have a patient, we just told us this week, she was so glad she got to scalp cool and keep her hair because her son has autism. And for her to lose her hair, that would be a drastic challenge
Big
for her
deal.
and her family and her son.
Yeah, yeah, that's a very big deal.
Again, it's
Changes.
normalcy. It's just normalcy.
Wow.
And you don't think
Well,
about especially a breast cancer patient, a woman loses everything all at once.
Mm.
Right? But if they can take control and try to keep the one thing that makes them look normal in the mirror, which is their hair, that's huge. Because if they had to look at themselves every day in the mirror without hair, they are constantly reminded you are sick.
Well, like you said, it's way beyond vanity.
Yeah.
It's way beyond vanity. It's a feeling of normalcy.
Yeah.
You know you're sick. You have to go through whatever you're going to go through. It is what it is. But it's just that reminder of you're sick is just, I've known people that have battled that, and it is a big deal. The wig thing,
yes,
all of that. And it's not about vanity. It's really about feeling normal. I just love it. Okay. So we don't have a lot of time. I wish we had like 2 hours. You're going to have to come back. This is going to be one of the shortest, but I know one of the best Work Your Career Wednesdays you can possibly give, or we can possibly air. Let me ask this real quick. We have a couple minutes left. Advice for people that are on the journey that you've been on. What piece of advice would you give someone on a similar path that you've been on?
Sure.
To make them more successful in their endeavors?
Bradley, whether it's my path or a different path, I think they're all very similar and parallel in the fact you need to know what makes you unique. You need to know what strengths you bring to the table, because if you know that within yourself, you can be powerful with whatever you do in life.
Powerful statement. Wow. Oh man, I love it. Okay. I'm so excited. Tell us where can people connect with you? And then we'll put the links in the body of this awesome podcast.
Sure thing. You can find me on LinkedIn. I do like to share my voice there. It's Courtney Turich, and it's with a CH at the end. And if you want to know more about Cooler Heads, you can reach out to me at Courtney@coolerheads.com.
And then you can go to coolerheads.com, the
yes,
website.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
Courtney, you are just an absolute delight. You're a light, and you've just encouraged. You really have encouraged me in so many ways, especially coming out of the hospital. We talked about earlier, I had RSV, and then it was more of things that were uncovered, but I'm on the mend and it's great. But I got to tell you, you're just so awesome. And I encourage everybody within the sound of my voice and watching this podcast, get in contact with you. You're amazing. What you're doing is fantastic. I see Cooler Heads doing amazing things. And we are so blessed to have you on today. Just thank you so much.
Thank you, Bradley. I appreciate you having me. This has been so much fun, and I'm glad you're on the mend, and look forward to doing it again.
Everybody, get in contact with Courtney. She is awesome. And remember this, that I love you. God bless you. Let his face shine upon you and give you great peace. Be excellent to yourself and each other. And remember, keep that cooler head. We'll talk soon. And there you have it. I got so much out of this interview. Really, her advice for anyone in the workforce, whether you're starting something yourself or you're working for somebody else, whatever it is, just be the best at it. Strive to do amazing things. Now, if you want to learn more about Cooler Heads, go to coolerheads.com, and all the info to get a hold of Courtney will be in the description. So, and I urge you to do that. Now, stay tuned. We have more to come. Amazing guests and just so much more. So again, thank you for tuning in and joining us today on Work Your Career Wednesday. And once again, I got to tell you that I love you and God bless you. Let his face shine upon you and give you great peace. Be excellent to yourself and each other. And we'll see you next week.
White Husky Films. Dream, create, record. We create ads and promos for your business. We can promote your video on television, Facebook, YouTube, Hulu, and more. We do a full Google SEO analysis for you with any plan. Call us today at 305-744-1444 or visit our website at whitehuskyfilms.com. White Husky Films.
Oh, hi. I didn't see you there. Hey, if you like Work Your Career Wednesday and want to be notified every single time we have a new episode, like, share, and subscribe. Hit that notification bell. Smash it. Get a hammer and get it. And
Yeah, that's fine.
Too much?
No, that's fine.
Are you sure?
Yeah, I love it. People want.
Do you hear Steven in the background? I was just making sure I'm going to be okay. But get that notification going. And hey, we will be letting you know, or I guess YouTube will be letting you know, when the next Work Your Career Wednesday is on. So make sure you like, share, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Man, ding it, ring it, sling it, and bing it. All right? And we will see you soon. Work Your Career Wednesday. Oh, great. I'm glad you stopped by. Be sure to get that subscription bell, and I'll see you there.